Today, guys, we're starting someplace pretty iconic by putting our sticker on this sign. We're gonna put it right here. That one was pretty sun faded and whatever, but there it is. But where are we? That's the question. Hello and welcome back. If it's your first time here, I'm Scott.
And I'm Allison.
And we are
Jarhead and Ginger's Journey.
We're full-time RVers. We do destination videos, tips and tricks, and all things RV. If that sounds like something you'd like, go ahead and hit the subscribe button and come along on our journeys. Well, if you remember the end of last week's video, guys, we were standing right here. And this is where we're going to start today's video, at the very beginning of the Alaskan Highway, right here in Dawson Creek, Canada.
If you remember, in last week's video, we said we were going to take a little side trip to Alberta because the Alaska Highway had been closed. We wanted to give the residents more time to get back in. So we went into Beaver Lodge in Alberta and we spent a night there. And we had dinner at one restaurant, and the owner or one of the employees put our sticker on the door. And then the next morning we went into breakfast at a different restaurant. Guess who was there greeting us? The same man. He asked for another sticker. The first restaurant was Anna's Pizza and Family Restaurant. The second was Sunrise Diner, and both were great. And thank you for putting your sticker on, or for putting our sticker on your restaurant. And we also spent the night in Saskatoon Lake Campground, and that was a very nice provincial park. They gave you free firewood. A very nice stay.
Absolutely. So let's go, guys. Let's get on this Alcan and let's head north towards Alaska. Come along. It's going to be a great time.
This is as good a day as any to start the rebuilding of life. The roads that lay open are many when the old one's gone under the knife. And I can feel the sun on my skin.
The start of the Alaska Highway is filled with, beyond Dawson Creek, filled with lots of agriculture, rolling hills. It's very beautiful, as you can see. There's some rivers that you cross. There's rest areas not too far out of town. One thing that we've noticed in Alaska that we're kind of spoiled to being from the U.S., and it's not a good thing, we should avoid this altogether, but we like to stop at convenience stores on travel days and get fountain drinks. We get the big old 44-ounce or sometimes unsweet tea for a healthier option, but you cannot find fountain drinks up here hardly at all. Even at some of the smaller restaurants, they just sell the cans instead of fountain drinks. I found that way different. Another thing is we came up in 2009. He came to Alaska first. We were moving from Georgia to Alaska, so he drove up pulling our 36-foot travel trailer and stopped in Washington and got his dad and made that trip up. How did that go?
It was fine. Everybody, when you tell them that you moved to Alaska or you drove to Alaska in January, everybody kind of freaks out. But the roads are literally completely flat and smooth. They groom the roads here obviously during the winter, so any potholes that they may have are filled in during the winter with ice and snow, so you don't get any of the bumps and stuff that you get on normal roads. I will say, it's talking about the roads in Canada, it is hard to find bad roads in Canada so far, guys. Like I say, we just started the Alaska Highway, but the roads here in Canada, for the most part, are really good.
I agree. And so after he made that trip up with his dad, he was actually in BC somewhere and had stopped for gas and finally got some cell service and discovered that I had left him a voicemail because I had stayed back in Georgia to sell the house, and as soon as he crossed into Canada, the house went under contract, so I had to call him and I left a voicemail, and to tell him, hey, you need to come back and get me. The house is sold. So he got all the way to Alaska and had to check into work and tell him, hey, I'm here, but I got to go back to Georgia and get my wife. So he flew back to Atlanta, and we rode up in our in a big old U-Haul, and it was like one of the biggest drivable U-Hauls you could get, and it was early February. And a funny thing is, on the way up, we haven't noticed, I'm sure we've stayed at a couple of hotels on the way, but we couldn't find the hotels. We don't remember where they were. And I know we stayed in Dawson Creek.
It was a while ago, though.
Yeah.
It was 2009.
Yeah, so we stayed in Dawson Creek, and I don't remember where we stayed. I know that we went to I think it was an Irish pub or some kind of tavern in Dawson Creek. Didn't see that. I even looked on Google Maps to try and find it, and I have no idea where we stayed. But anyhow, before we headed out, we grabbed some more Tim Hortons, and now we are on the highway, and we'll continue to update you as we go.
From within, today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today is a good day to live. This morning has a clearer light as any to see the horizon and the far. Excuses were 2 for a penny, but they've all gone out the window of this car. And when I feel the wind,
We wanted to stop here at this small little roadside pullout. This is actually very typical of the rest stops here that we've been noticing in Canada. It's basically just a wide spot in the road a lot of times, like this one is. And hopefully you can see right behind us here, there's a couple of picnic tables at this one. There's some bear-proof, I guess, trash cans back there, and a couple of pit toilets. Very handy, and there are quite a few actually. I would say average, there are probably more here than there are in the US.
I think so. And most of them are pit toilets, and we have come across a couple that I wouldn't even go in, but for the majority, they're very clean. This one has just been cleaned, and we actually met a family here at this one that is heading home to Fort Nelson after being evacuated and having to live out of their car for 3 weeks, so they're anxious to get home, and they said everything's fine there, thankfully.
Yeah, they have a dog that was gigantic. It was at least 200 plus pounds, 250 pounds probably. A gigantic dog, biggest dog I think I've seen in quite a while.
Yes.
Anyway, let's take a look around this rest area and give you guys a tour. Here's an example of the, I'm going to call them bear-proof, but the bear bins here. You have to put your hand in, and there's a little lever. You push up on the lever, and then the door will open so you can get in and throw away your trash. Which we still have to do. We haven't done that yet. Now let's go look at the other part of this rest area.
All right, I used this one already. I know it's just been cleaned, so here you go. You can go on in and take a look. There's just a basic toilet, and you have toilet paper. That's it.
all that ever was is alright. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow. Today, well, something's gotta give. Today is a good day. Today and not tomorrow, there's no time to borrow.
Did you see that? We just saw another bear. That was number 11. So that was 10 black bears and one brown, possible grizzly that we did not get on camera. But another update, we stopped in Fort Nelson, and that's where they had everybody evacuate. People were gone for 3 weeks from their homes because of the wildfire. And so when we got there, there were still a lot of businesses closed, restaurants closed. We did find one open that was at a hotel, and they were packed with first responders. There were several first responders there, and then we had a dinner there, and we're driving to find somewhere else, looking for a place to stay. We went through the smoke and the fires that seemed to be pretty much contained. They were still smoldering a little bit, but thankfully the heroes took care of it.
Well, they wouldn't have let the town people back in if they hadn't had it under control, but it was pretty smoky. And one thing I'd never seen before, apparently the firefighters right alongside the road, and maybe you noticed this in some of the footage earlier because we did capture some of it, on both sides of the road, every so often there were big water bladders that were open at the top. I'm assuming so they can come in and fill whatever it is they're using to maybe douse down some hot spots or whatever the case is. But that was pretty cool to see those actually still in place. There was some heavy equipment alongside the roads also for like chewing up the ground, so there's nothing that the fire can jump across, nothing to catch fire basically. It just takes everything down to dirt, like a pulverizing type machine. Those were pretty cool to see too. But like she said, we just saw another bear, so it didn't keep the animals out of here for very long at least. So that's good news. That's good to see that the animals are coming back in already.
Good morning. This is where we stayed last night. We're in a roadside stop just north of Fort Nelson, just past, I think, Summit Pass. And there's a trash here and no toilets, but we've got our own, so we're good. And we're a little bit off the highway, so we slept better than the last roadside stop we had. And plus, there's less traffic through here, it seems.
Yeah, we're getting farther north now, obviously, because that's the direction we're going. But yeah, there's starting to get fewer people, and the towns are spread out a little farther apart. But I had a pretty good night's sleep, and man, it's some beautiful views that we've seen so far going up this road. We can't wait for what today has. We're keeping a count. We have, I don't know the count right now, but she does, I think. We have 13 bears or 14 bears. 14 bears. We saw, yesterday, we also saw the bison that you've seen by now. And we've seen a few deer and a couple of elk, but...
we saw a whole pen full of elk. They were pets, though. They were farmed.
We didn't count those guys.
No.
They were behind a high fence. But... yeah, I'm looking back behind you guys right now at a snow-capped mountain range here. So we're in the Rockies, the Canadian Rockies, I guess, right now, and we can't wait to see the rest of the day has for us.
And something is getting to my eyes. It looks like it's snowing here. It's the cottonwood, but I don't know if that's it. I've never really had seasonal allergies before, but it's getting me something this year. And so now we're going to go hunt a place to have breakfast, and I think we're going to make it to Watson Lake tonight. And have I got a story for you about Watson Lake?
You're going to want to stick around to hear that story, but you're also going to want to see the view from today, guys. It's going to be awesome. Let's go.
We made a stop here at Toad River Lodge here in Toad River, British Columbia, and had breakfast. It is a little pricey for breakfast. We spent $52 Canadian, but you're so remote that I imagine it costs a lot to get those supplies there. They did have t-shirts, but they were $70, so we didn't get a t-shirt. But this place has a campground for about 50 Canadian, full hookups, a beautiful area, and we're gonna take you out back and show you what makes this place so special.
This is the view from inside and also from the back deck on the restaurant we just have. Hopefully you can see there some near the center, that white dot moving, that is a big old swan. Beautiful. And you can look across the water at the hillside there, and all the way as we pan this way you can even see the snow-capped mountains in the background back there. Beautiful spot. Allison's thinking about staying here on the way back out of here when we're heading back down towards the lower 48 again. There's another swan right over there. You may or may not be able to see it. That's the first time we've seen that one. So there are 2 swans on this lake. Very, very beautiful view here.
And the one swan, the first swan we showed, has a baby. You can't see it. I guess it's hiding out on the other side of her. After we fueled up, we went inside to check out to see if they have a little convenience store here. They have more of like a hotel-sized convenience store. Didn't have the drinks that we were looking for, but they do have a restaurant, and this place is known as the place to stop on the Alcan. And there is an RV park here, and I asked about the prices. They start at $70, and the really good spots on the lake are $90. So if you need a spot with full hookups, here it is with a beautiful view and everything, but I'm glad we can just pull over on the side of the road and save some money.
Hi, I'm Lynn.
And I'm Danny, and we're RV America.
And we'll see you next time on Jarhead and Ginger's Journey.